Today is a deeply important day for the United States. We celebrate this day to honor America's veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the freedoms each of us enjoy as American citizens. At Goodyear, we're privileged to have a deeply meaningful connection to the United States military. We are the largest producer of tires for the United States military. We constructed more than 150 blimps for the U.S. Navy in World War I and II, and put together more than 5,000 Corsair fighter planes for the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps.
We recognize and are deeply humbled by our powerful intersection and history with the U.S. Armed Forces. We express this appreciation through the hiring of veterans, from executive leadership roles to associates building our nation's finest products. We currently employ thousands of associates in varying capacities across our organization. They are what makes this company what it is today. The level of dedication, work ethic, perspective, and ingenuity our veteran associates provide across our offices, plants, and retail stores is immeasurable.
So on this day, and every day, we salute the veterans in this company and the communities in which we serve. The military is part of the fabric of this company. We thank each of the veteran employees and their families, and we appreciate the sacrifices they've made. Very respectfully, Tom Peoples, Senior Technical Project Manager, Lieutenant, United States Navy retired.
Very respectfully, Matthew Kosh, Supervisor, Dynamic Test Lab, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force retired.
Good morning, and welcome to the 2020 Goodyear Veterans Day celebration of veterans. Our theme today is Inspiring Culture by Celebrating Goodyear Veterans. My name is Thomas Peoples. I'm a Senior Technical Project Manager in the Global Technology. I'm a former surface warfare officer in the United States Navy, and I'm currently serving as your president of the Goodyear Veterans Association. Point of order, please be advised that this program is being recorded. On behalf of the Goodyear Veterans Association's executive leadership team, I'd like to welcome you to this year's program. If you've been around for more than a couple of years, you know we normally mark this celebration with a large gathering in the atrium. But like everything and everyone else in the world at this point, we've got to adjust. And despite the fact that we aren't all together physically, we are all gathered here now to pay tribute to the men and women who've served and are currently serving in uniform, the men and women that may no longer wear a uniform but continue to serve in the communities, and the people that have found the value and the joy in serving in a greater cause beyond themselves. We have a great program for you today, where I firmly believe you're going to walk away inspired to find new ways to continue to serve in whatever capacity that may take. I'd like to thank the entire communications team, creative services, and facilities for their continued support of the Goodyear Veterans Association. And I'd like to thank all the men and women that have put on the uniform for their dedicated and faithful service, whether it's to protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic, or by heading into the burning building to retrieve that citizen that's been overcome by smoke. Thank you for your service. With that, I'd like to turn it over to our chairman, CEO, and president, Rich Kramer, to get us started.
Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. In fact, it's humbling to be here. Tom, listening to the introduction that you and Jose had was simply fantastic, and I can say it's an honor for me to join all of you today, and it's humbling to be here. And Tom, let me thank you for everything you've done as well in the role that you have. So I appreciate that. I do want to make a few remarks, but I'll also say I'm especially looking forward to hear from General Vasquez as well, because I know there's some interesting connections to Goodyear there that we'll listen for as well. So great to be here and to be part of this. Now, as was said earlier, Goodyear has a long tradition and partnership with the military, going all the way back to our airships, but certainly more recently with the tires that we supply both on the ground and in the air. And I know we have so many men and women making those tires that are so proud to serve our military and have such pride that goes into each of those tires that we sell to the government and the role that they play to keep our armed forces safe and keep them moving all around the world. So we take great pride in that. In addition to that tradition, we have a long tradition here at Goodyear of vets working at our company. And why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I'll cite two. And one is for the contribution that our veterans bring to our company here, and also for what they embody. And when I think about what our veterans embody at Goodyear, I think about four things. I think about leadership, loyalty, integrity, and really a work ethic, a strong work ethic that we have. I think about leadership at the core, working on behalf of others. Certainly what they've done in the military, but also what they do every day here at Goodyear. Secondly is loyalty, and that's focusing not on themselves, but on a larger purpose. Third, I said, is integrity, and integrity is really doing the right thing all the time, particularly as we say when no one's looking. Clearly, that integrity comes to work every day with this group of associates. And then finally, strong work ethic. And I love this, not only to get things done does that work ethic come through, but also around problem solving. The word can't is not in the language. It's about how we solve problems and get things done. Now, if you add all that up, you could also describe what I just said in one word, and that's service. And that service is what we're the beneficiaries of here at Goodyear. Now, it's common to say, and I'll also say very well deserved to say, thank you for your service. We often express that to our veterans, to those in the military, for everything they do for us as citizens of the United States. But service also can mean something else. And I think that's what we see every day from our veterans here at Goodyear. Clearly, it's service in what we do at Goodyear. Could be United Way, could be Food Bank, could be so many of the other things that we do. But we also see service to our communities. We see it as firefighters, first responders. We see it in vets helping with FEMA assistance to some of the national disasters that we have. We see it with the COVID situation that we have that we're dealing with today as well. And our veterans are part of that. They're part of Goodyear, they're part of the community, they're part of the fabric of everything that we do. And I'm so proud to have them in our company and to support the service that they perform. So today, I'd certainly like for all of us to celebrate our Goodyear veterans and to thank them for their service, both as citizens and as soldiers. Their actions really serve as a model to show others how to connect to each other, to our community, and to the greater good. And I want to thank them for their military service because they connect people of different backgrounds, different upbringings, people of different races and beliefs, people of different communities and economic status, all coming together for the bond of one common purpose, and that purpose is service. Service what they did while they were in the military, service for what they're doing outside of the military, and certainly service that we see embodied in things like our Goodyear Week of Volunteering. So I would say these individuals, for all, including myself, really are inspiring, and they're at the core of our inspiring culture that we have here at Goodyear. So Tom, to you and to all your associates, I want to extend on behalf of all of Goodyear our thanks and our gratitude and our appreciation. And I'll certainly say, God bless America, God bless our veterans, and God bless our Goodyear veterans. And thank you for everything you do. We're proud to support you every day. And thank you for what you do to keep our country great. I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you, Tom.
All right. Thank you, Rich, for those inspiring words. I think many of us who have had the opportunity and the privilege of serving, we do it freely. We do it. We're happy to do it, and we do it all over again. And when we think about the people serving in different capacities in our communities and various responsibilities, it is truly amazing how we can accomplish things together. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Matthew Slater. He is the Director of Veteran Services here in Summit County and our liaison to the Valor Home of Summit County. We, the Goodyear Veterans Association, have a long-standing relationship with the Valor Home. It's a place where we as Goodyear associates have the opportunity to support them as they execute their mission in serving our local veterans in need. So with that, please help me welcome Matthew Slater.
Thank you, Tom, so much for that kind introduction, and what an honor it is to be here to speak to Goodyear today. Little bit about the agency I work for, Family Community Services. Our mission is to go forth and do good. We started in 1941 as an agency serving the poor and indigent in Portage County, and in 1942 we turned this mission towards the families of the sailors and soldiers fighting overseas in World War II. Over 60 years later, in 2005, we got back to our roots of serving veterans and their families and opening our first housing program for veterans, a 9-bed emergency shelter. And then in 2013, we established Valor Home, which we've been partnering with Goodyear on since then. We now have over 130 units in Northeastern Ohio for homeless vets. And we've been able to grow so much over the past 70 plus years, and in particular, in our service to veterans and their family members because of our dedication to mission, to go forth and do good. And as employees, it is both a mission and an unwritten kind of contract we have with our employer that we aren't just there to speak well of what needs to be done at FNCS, we also must go forth and do good. So it's always a little bit daunting when I'm asked to speak on Veterans Day. I'm a civilian. I cannot and will not speak for veterans' experience during or after their service, or about their sacrifice or the camaraderie that they built in their service. But I can speak of this idea of commitment to mission, which I know is something that Goodyear and its employees understand. And my favorite Veterans Day sentiment comes from our 35th president, President John F. Kennedy. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that it is not enough to just speak well of the veteran as a country. We must also do well by the veteran. Veterans Day is the day that's supposed to remind us of this. We are to act. We cannot just say the pledge or sing the anthem. We cannot just thank a veteran for their service. I believe that we as civilians have a contract with our military and our veterans that has to be honored. And it's not just words that matter, it is our actions that matter. And I see Goodyear fulfilling this contract, and you veterans continuing to fulfill that with your veterans who've fallen on hard times, who are homeless, the veterans that we serve. You guys come out and give of your time and treasure, whether it's having a golf outing to raise dollars for food and for helping our veterans achieve permanent housing, or if it's just coming in and helping us repaint a room at Valor Home. This commitment from you all has made all the difference, and this is what it takes to solve problems that seem sometimes intractable, like homelessness. It is both those small and grand gestures that organizations like Goodyear and the Veterans Group in particular give to nonprofits like Family and Community Services. So I just want to thank you all for your service and for your continued efforts towards helping us to end veterans homelessness in Summit County. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. I know, we Goodyear and we the Veterans Association, GVA, are going to continue to work to help make the lives of our veterans in need better. That's a given. Thanks again. Thank you for what you do. Next, I'd like to introduce you to your newly re-elected Summit County Clerk of Courts. Congratulations, Sandra. I've had the pleasure of working with Sandra on at least one committee out in the community. I've personally observed her servant leadership in action. Sandra is a Goodyear retiree. She's an elected official. She's an activist in the community. She's a strong supporter of the Goodyear Veterans Association, and she's not afraid to stand shoulder to shoulder with you in the fight, as well as shoulder to shoulder with you at the Grog Bowl. Please help me welcome a woman that I'm proud to call my friend Sandra Kurt.
Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate your congratulations and appreciate the confidence of the voters of Summit County to keep me working for you as the Clerk of Courts. I'm honored to be with you all today to express our appreciation for the service of our veterans. In my 30-year career with Goodyear, I had the opportunity to work on projects around the world, including in some countries that don't enjoy the freedoms that we have here in the United States. Those experiences deepened my appreciation for those who serve our country and defend those freedoms. In my time as a Summit County Councilwoman at large, I learned about the Veteran Service Commission. They provide lots of services for our veterans, including assistance and job searches and computers for them to use in their job search and things like that. When our veterans return from service, they often need help just adjusting back to regular life and getting their feet on the ground and reestablishing some of those connections. Last year, my office participated in the Summit County Stand Down. This is a day of service where hundreds of organizations provide services and material goods, such as clothing, boots, winter coats, for our veterans. And when I was volunteering that day and I was handing out socks to people, to our veterans, I really saw a lot of veterans that were seriously in need. And it made me feel sad that our country and our communities don't support all of them in the way that we need to. But I tell you, the Goodyear ERG and Goodyear as an employer is really trying to combat that. And I appreciate that. Not everybody does. But the ERG, especially working with Valor Home, on which I serve on the advisory committee, you know, you've really brightened the lives of the veterans that are there. And you've helped their adjustment back to getting back in society, establishing independence, and getting employment. And all of that is so important. And none of it can be done without average folks like the Goodyear associates that put their time and effort into those organizations. I just want to say thank you again. I want to say thank you to all of our veterans. You know, whether you served during wartime, whether you served during the Cold War, whether you served here at home or overseas, it all makes a difference, and we need all of you. And it's up to us to really show our appreciation by serving those who served us. Thank you again very much. And just, I'm a little bit speechless, I guess, expressing my appreciation for our veterans, but also for Goodyear for doing everything that you do for our veterans. Thank you so much, Tom. Back to you.
Thank you, Sandra. I appreciate taking the time out of your schedule to be with us and those words. I'm sure we'll be in touch in various things throughout the community, as you are very, very engaged in a lot of the different activities out there fighting the fight. Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we got a real treat for you. Next on the agenda is newly promoted Lieutenant Colonel Jose Rivera. Jose is a Goodyear associate. He is an officer in the Army. He's a native of Northeast Ohio. He's a scholar. He's a warrior, and he's a gentleman. He's my comrade in arms. He's currently on leave from Goodyear on active duty in the service of protecting this great nation from those who would do us harm. He's someone I have great respect for and am honored to know. Please help me welcome one of my best friends, Lieutenant Colonel Jose Rivera.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom. That was very thoughtful. I appreciate it. So I'm really happy to be able to speak at the event this year. I left on military leave from Goodyear on the 6th of April, and been incredibly busy in my new responsibilities as an officer at the U.S. Central Command. So what I wanted to do is just give everyone just a kind of a quick update on what I've been doing and the mission that we're accomplishing, and then just a little bit of insights on the support that Goodyear has been given has given me and to my family as I've been forward deployed. So as I mentioned, I'm serving in the headquarters of the U.S. Central Command, and for those who aren't familiar with the military units and structures, Central Command is a geographic combatant command, which is in charge of all combat operations, security operations, stability operations in the Middle East and in Central Asia. And what I do in the U.S. Central Command is I work within the operations directorate as an information warfare officer. And I am the branch chief in charge of current operations. So everything that's happening within 72 hours to execution in the theater of combat in our area of responsibility within the Middle East for all information operations. And so it's kind of overrate. There's a whole bunch of military jargon there. So let me try to explain. Information operations is a component of looking at the battlefield. So everyone is fairly familiar with the idea of land warfare and naval warfare and air warfare and now space warfare. But we have another domain, which is the informational environment. And so if you think about the battlefield, decisions are being made based off of information, and that information is influenced, it's received, it's communicated. And so information operations is the process of converging multiple different equities that impact the informational environment and driving it to create effects that help the outcomes of what our soldiers, sailors, Marine Corps, and airmen are doing on the battlefield. And so just to give you a perspective on the types of activities that we do, my branch consists of a group of planners who are on 24-hour operations in what you would see like in the movies, just a huge room of screens, and they're coordinating with folks that are on the ground. And so in my portfolio, I have different commands that are in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, and other countries that report into the different operations that I'm managing. And so my team is managing everything that's happening in that information fight as it goes into execution. And then we are synchronizing, coordinating, and ensuring that we have a concert of effort towards those outcomes in each of those operations. And the types of different functional areas that we coordinate are things like psychological warfare, military deception operations, cyberspace operations, electronic warfare, special technical warfare, public affairs, and strategic communications. So one thing that I'll say, which has been very insightful to me, is we always talk at Goodyear about what veterans bring to the team and inspiring culture to our teams. But what I will tell you is there's been a lot of inspiring culture from Goodyear that I brought with me to the U.S. Central Command. So when I left Goodyear, I was serving as a communications manager for HR and legal. And so you can imagine in information operations where you're coordinating efforts across public affairs and strategic communications, how those skills were brought to bear into the fight. And then I think back at some of the other roles I've had, particularly those as project managers, and working under Chris Hels's organization, and where I am not a technical expert, but I'm working with a lot of technical experts, many in different countries. It's very now we have all these technical experts that have functional competencies that we're trying to leverage their resources and equities to bear on the problem. And some of them are from our coalition partners. I work daily on a global team with officers from the United Kingdom, officers from Saudi Arabia, officers from our Five Eyes partners, which include Canada, Australia, and others. And we're leveraging our collective efforts towards meeting these problem sets and doing good in the world. And so I'll tell you that cross-functional experience, working on technical teams and being able to leverage those relationships, even if you don't have a direct report relationship, but all those cross-functional relationships and building teamwork and building camaraderie within the teams at Goodyear has served me very well accomplishing my mission here at the Central Command. Pretty exciting time here. There's events that have happened in the Middle East, and although I can't talk about a large part of what I do, there are a few things that I can highlight as activities that we've done. So over the summer, as everyone was aware, in August there was a terrible explosion in Beirut, Lebanon. And my team was integral in connecting the different public affairs and strategic communicators to help communicate the humanitarian aid that was being resourced through all of our coalition partners and the U.S. Air Force. And so that was a huge undertaking that team helped coordinate. And moreover, being able to create calm and understanding within the region that the U.S. and our partners are working together to address that issue and be able to provide humanitarian aid and other aid to Beirut as they were going through that tragedy. The other thing that we saw over the summer, in September, we had the Abraham Accords, which was the normalization of relations between UAE, Bahrain, and Israel, which was massively important in the diplomatic area of what we're doing. And so as much as we're coordinating with U.S. military entities, we also work hand in hand and daily with the other agencies within the USG and the State Department on their missions as well. And so that was a big piece that we had in terms of different operations. And as we start going later into my deployment, one of the other big things that we're looking at are the inter-Afghan talks. And as we start transitioning out of combat operations for the U.S. forces and handing over that to the Afghan security forces, that's going to be a big component of what my team's doing. And so in the next couple of months, I will be moving out of the U.S. CENTCOM headquarters proper and moving forward to our forward deployed headquarters in Saudi Arabia. And that's where I'll spend the rest of my deployment. And I am incredibly looking forward to coming back. I know my wife and kids are. And just one thing I'd like to say of note, as kind of tumultuous as this time has been with COVID-19 and going on a deployment right after, and with all of the challenges and transformative changes that Goodyear had to accomplish in order to meet the challenges that we're seeing, and I'm leaving at that same time, there's been one thing that's been incredibly consistent and stable in my experience, and that is the unwavering support that the Goodyear leaders and the organization have given to me and my family. And I can't overly express the peace of mind that Crystal and I have, knowing that we've got a team and a family that has our back and is there to support us 100% as we go through these challenges. So as much as I appreciate the words of gratitude for our service, I also want to express my deep and sincere gratitude to Goodyear and the team for everything you've done for me and my family. So thank you so much. Happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Jose. And, as long as we've been at these teams meetings, you still got to get quick on the mute. Thank you for those inspiring words, and yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll keep talking, and Godspeed when you have to go to where it's not so friendly. So, with that, our next speaker, I guess the best way to describe it, and I'll do that, is I'm going to need to read his bio almost in its entirety, because when we talk about the role of the veterans and their connectivity and their continued service and being tied to the community, I don't know if there's going to be too many better examples than Brigadier General Richard Vasquez on what it really means to be a citizen soldier. And again, the only way I think I can do justice to his accomplishments in this space is to really just read it. So Brigadier General Vasquez serves as the commander of the Ohio Defense Force. Under his command is the Ohio Military Reserve, the Ohio Naval Militia, and Ohio Cyber Reserve. Prior to his current assignment, Brigadier General Vasquez served in a variety of progressively challenging roles, including the commander of the OHMR and a 30-day detail as acting brigade commander of the 5th Military Police Brigade. General Vasquez served as a contract faculty for the U.S. Army Management Staff College for 3 years. He's traveled to U.S. Army garrisons worldwide to serve as an instructor and military analyst to Force Protection Command Post exercises. He served as a federal agent, a National Park Ranger for 30 years. He's conducted investigations and responded to emergencies. He's worked over 500 operational shifts at major disaster and homeland security events throughout the country, including forest fires, floods, and anti-terrorism events. He served as a part-time adjunct faculty at over 25 different colleges for 25 years, and he teaches a variety of safety and criminal justice topics. He's currently teaching online public administration courses at Mount Vernon Nazarene University. He served as a part-time on-call firefighter medic for the city of Monroe Falls for 20 years, where he's risen to the rank of senior grade lieutenant. He's responded to a full range of fire, EMS, hazmat, rescue, and disaster calls common to a small municipality. He's a 2001 graduate of the University of Akron with a master's degree in Master's of Science in Technical Education, and he's completed a variety of military training in advanced schools. His awards and decorations include Distinguished Service Medal, Ohio Medic Badge, OHMR Academy Instructor Badge, SGAUS Emergency Management Specialist Badge with the State Active Duty Oval, the SGAUS Engineering Specialist Badge, Outstanding Unit Citation, and Commanding General's Meritorious Unit Citation Second Award. Folks, he served both, and he's also served as a youth and adult leader with the Boy Scouts of America for 25 years. And his awards include Eagle Scout and District Award of Merit. With that, please help me and pass your attention over to Brigadier General Richard Vasquez.
Thank you, Tom. It's an honor to address the Goodyear's Veteran Day virtual event. My father-in-law was a World War II veteran, and he was a Goodyear retiree. He worked as an engineer at the Akron plant and at the Green Air Spring plant for about 40 years. And I guess that sort of makes me a distant family member. The State Defense Forces of Ohio is a branch of the Adjutant General's Department. It is a state agency, and it consists of the Ohio Military Reserve, the Ohio Navy, and the new Ohio Cyber Reserve. There are only 18 states that have similar military units. These states cannot be sent overseas. They're reserved for state service only. Approximately 1/2 of our personnel have been deployed throughout the state in the fight of COVID-19 over the past 8 months. They've provided food bank support, COVID-19 testing, and emergency medical staffing to understaffed or emergency staffed medical facilities. It is possible that some of our soldiers tested your family members for COVID. Perhaps some of your contractors or your suppliers, or maybe your neighbors, needed the services of the food bank that our soldiers served at. Our ranks are made up of both prior service veterans and those whose initial military service has been with the state. And by the way, happy birthday, Marines. Those who have had prior federal service and have joined us do so sometimes because they miss the camaraderie or the opportunity for uniformed services, some for other similar intangible benefits. 2 of your Goodyear employees here in Ohio and a couple of your vendors serve as soldiers in the Ohio Military Reserve today. Because we are a state agency, we can relax some of the barriers that prevent federal service. So we have opportunities for some wounded warriors, and even for those who are non-prior service, but have adaptable limitations. On a larger scale, there is no doubt that tire manufacturers such as Goodyear touch the lives of military personnel throughout the world. Well-built tires help move military personnel quickly to the field of engagement, and they help them remain mobile when tactically necessary. On a personal note, I'd like you to imagine a soldier, a sailor, airman, or Marine who's about to leave for a year of overseas duty, and them not having to worry about the tires on their family car falling apart because they've been properly built. That could bring them great comfort. Each Goodyear employee has a contribution to this greater effort, and that effort to support both our state and our nation, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. Again, like I mentioned, you exemplify what it means to serve in uniform and out of uniform, as well as a beacon in the community. So again, thank you, sir, for your service, and I appreciate those kind words. All right. As we're wrapping up, I'd really like to thank everybody for your attention today and participating in our event. I'd also like to thank all of the veteran Goodyear associates that have served. I'd like to express my sincere personal thanks and appreciation for all of the support that I've received in this role as the president of the GVA. We've come a long way as a company. We've come a long way as an ERG and other ERGs, and we've come a long way as people in this community, and I really look forward to where we're all headed. Aside from our upcoming executive committee election, this is probably one of my last official tasks as the president of the Goodyear Veterans Association. Like many of the ERGs, the vice president is the president-elect. And with that, I'd like to now pass it over to Matthew Kosh, your incoming president of the Goodyear Veterans Association, to take us home.
All right, thank you, Tom. I think it'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute to recognize your invaluable leadership and guidance that you've provided the GVA over the last few years, and even further back in your time as vice president before that. So I'd like to thank all of our guest speakers again, Rich Kramer, Matthew Slater, Sandra Kurt, Jose Rivera, in general, Richard Vasquez. Definitely has been a challenging year. It's something didn't expect to have to deal with a global pandemic, but there's kind of want to highlight the common link that the military's had with what Goodyear's had to deal with stuff. And the military, and especially the Air Force, we always had a saying that was flexibility is the key to air power. I know another one that is out there is adapt and overcome. And one of the Goodyear core values and core competencies is being agile. And I think that we've all demonstrated that as a company, and we have that commonality. And I believe collectively we'll continue to push on and overcome the challenges and go on into next year. GVA has many wonderful events that we want to have lined up. We'd like to be able to get back to some in-person meetings and events. So I'm looking forward to running these events and seeing some of you out there. I'd like to point out that the GVA is not just for military veterans. It is for all people that have a desire to serve and maybe just give back to the community and volunteer. So, you know, I truly invite everybody to be able to come out. And I recognize that I'm probably the last hurdle between a lot of you and your lunches, so I won't keep you too long. But for everybody that's has told me thank you for my service today, and will continue to do so personally and on behalf of the GVA, I would like to say thank you for your support. So with that, I turn you all over to lunch.